Hi, I want to talk about my app, the Spinning Wheels app, and I want to talk about how to chart your menstrual cycle on it. So basically, the charting for the menstrual cycle happens in the cycle calendar, which is what you can access once you pay for a subscription, which I have purposely made very affordable at basically $1 a month, and then cheaper for 6 months and cheaper for 12 months. So the app has a period prediction feature that you can have on or off. Now, if you have irregular cycles or if you are perimenopausal and you don't know what's happening, then I suggest you turn the period predictor off. Now, I'll show you in a minute where that is in the settings, and I'll take you through the process of looking at the settings to set up the app so it can predict your period if that's what you're choosing to do. And I will let you know how the app calculates all that. So here's how you'll see the app when you open it with the spinning wheels. And on the outer wheel is the life season, then the Earth season, then the lunar cycle, then the menstrual cycle. So I'm borrowing Ayla's app here because she has her settings organized because she has a menstrual cycle. Mine, postmenopausally, I have selected in the settings I'm postmenopausal, so there's no menstrual cycle prediction on mine, so hence borrowing this app. So here we go to the menu. There's a couple of ways to get to the menu. That way, menu or slide, and we go to the settings. Now, here is where you switch off the cycle prediction if you would rather do that, or you have it on. And then what you need to do is fill out these things here that basically tell the app your details so it can predict your period. Now, the way it works is that once you've chosen to have your cycle predicted, then the cycle calendar in the spinning wheels shows 3 things. So I'm just going to show you what you have to do to fill in first. So basically what it's asking is the date of your that you last started bleeding. So that's the date of your last day 1. Then the length your menstrual cycle usually is. So basically, you get a number and you choose that. And then the usual time you bleed, so bleeding duration, and then also your luteal phase length. So, maybe maybe you don't. And luteal phase length information. So there's all these pop-ups that come up that tell you what things are. So basically, the luteal phase is the second half of your cycle, and it goes from ovulation to day 1. And that phase is usually fixed, like it's always the same length of time for a woman. Average is 14, range is usually 12 to 16 days, and that's in the healthy model, right? Pathology, anything goes. So back here to this, all these settings, so to speak, cycle prediction settings, then enable the app to predict, and let's go back to the cycle calendar. So here we are on April the 1st, April Fool's Day. So what we see ahead here is the prediction. So see these lighter pinkish colours, just going back to the previous month. The darker red are the actual days of the bleeding. Going forward to April now. So this is the predicted dates, these lighter coloured ones. And that's based also on these clouds here that 5 days before the predicted day 1 are the days to pay attention, and the days that are basically week 4 of your cycle when you're going to want to be more inward. So this is like helping you to plan your life, basically. Don't organise any parties on these days because you won't want to go. So also it's a good time to finish things, not start things, which is similar to the lunar cycle, but that's another story. So with your settings that I went through before, the app will predict your premenstrual days, these clouds, and that's just to, again, remind you that these will be the times you feel more inward. And then that's calculated from 5 days before the day 1, your period start date, that is based on the calculation that you entered in the settings of the date that you last bled, your last day 1, and plus the length that you've entered of your menstrual cycle length. So that calculates the next one, and therefore the 5 days earlier. So the prediction of the actual menstrual period to come, those reddish bars, that's based on how many days you usually bleed. So just repeating, so if you usually bleed 5 days, then it'll predict your next 5 days. And then your ovulation date will be predicted, and that will be predicted based on the luteal phase length that you've entered, and will come after the duration of the predicted period, bleeding time. So this app is only going to be as good as the information that you give it, like any kind of prediction process. And just to also say that predicting your period is going to be helpful, but it may not be exactly what happens, because we know that the menstrual cycle is a stress-sensitive system, and therefore it could change due to stress. But the other thing you need to know is that this premenstrual thing, you don't need these clouds to remind you, you'll feel it. So remember, this is a tool. It's not telling you what to do, it's just imagining what you will feel like. So the clouds for more inward, and also the ovulation. So the ovulation prediction here is here. It shows up with this little icon, ovulation predictor. Now, you know, it may not be exact, because it may change based on the length of your follicular phase, which is the first half of your period, your menstrual cycle, and that is the side or the half of your cycle that changes in length. If you have a period that comes earlier or later, your luteal phase generally stays the same, except in pathology, but the follicular phase may change, and hence the potential prediction of your ovulation. But this is a reminder, not a definite answer, because you need to understand, and this will tell you about ovulation, what it is, and how it affects you, and what to do when you ovulate, potential prayers to make when you ovulate, and more information. But basically you should know how your body tells you that you ovulate. So ovulation creates increased energy, creativity, libido, body awareness, attractiveness and appeal. The cervix produces fertile mucus called spin, etc., etc. So you want to be paying attention to these experiences, the messages your body's giving you about ovulation, and then check that with the app, not the other way around. The other thing that shows up here is your natal lunar phase return. And this, as I've been talking about, is when each lunar cycle, when it's the same phase as it was on the day you were born. Now, this is really important, as I keep saying, because this is the second time in your cycle where you may be fertile. You have the potential to ovulate. So there's all the information there, and some articles that other people have written, including this one about increased sperm count for men when they have their natal lunar return. Like, you know, I know a lot of people don't know about this, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Okay, so back to the calendar, and here we are here. If you want to enter some information, which is the point, right? Because this app is not just doing all this prediction and telling you about when the full moon's coming and what to do about it. It also gives you the opportunity to track how you're feeling on the day. So you go to the day and you go track, and there you have all these icons to choose to basically record your experience of the day. And then down the bottom, notes. So you type in here whatever you want to type in here. And then press save, and that is recorded here for that day. And then just going forward there to the next day, you can always return back to this day and you'll see what you wrote down there. Now, all those little icons there that you choose from to map your experience in your cycle, you find them in the settings under diary, and there's a whole heap of things you might want to be recording. You choose them by ticking them, and don't forget to press save, and then you go back to the cycle calendar, and then on a day when you want to track, you've got those there to do. So don't forget to use the notes. It's like your own journal here, but it's everything in the one place that you can easily refer to back again. So remember to press save. And here we are back on this day, and there you go. So I hope that's helpful, and I hope the app can reconnect you to the cycles. So obviously your menstrual cycle, the lunar cycle, because that's happening as well, and the earth seasons, and your life season. So reconnecting you to all the cycles, and the app can help you determine, understand why you feel the way you do on any particular day. And there you go, Spinning Wheels app.